search of workshop leads. June is the prep month, a library of recorded sessions that gets a whole cohort of first to vibe coders ready before the ship a thing this July. If you have built something worth teaching, you have a session to give. Visit ZABALGamez.com, that's ZABAL Games.com, and sign up. What is the ZABAL Gamez? 3 months, June, July, August. June is prep with ZABAL teachers, vibe coding instructors run recorded sessions on tools, context, and the ecosystem. July is the open build-a-thon. Anyone with the vibe coding harness ships a build for the ZABAL ecosystem publicly. August is the finals, a cohort curated from July. Each builder paired with a ZABAL mentor for the main event, winner reveal.
Awesome. We are here with Will T of Web3. Welcome. Right, I-Man made it for me. It's been amazing working with different folks out there. That's kind of the beauty of the space, right? Is you get things like that I didn't even ask for. We'd just been working on it and talking about it, and he sent that over to me, and I was like, boom, well, we have our intro.
Nice. I love it. What's
up,
how are
you doing today?
How's it going? I'm doing well. Dude, it's been a minute.
I know it has been a minute. It's been a blessing to know, meet, and learn more about you. We met, in my very beginning time of kind of onboarding myself into Web3 in 2023 in one of our mutual music and tech groups, and then just mutually through the DAO ecosystem. Actually, in one of the places where you're very familiar with our ecosystem, the fractal side of things, because I got a chance to chat a lot more with you through the fractal ecosystem, whether that be Optimism Fractal, Eden Fractal, and having you actually understand a little bit of what I'm trying to build here with the ZABAL Fractal gives us that leg up, which is awesome. But we're here to chat a little bit about KF Media, one of the tracks for the ZABAL ecosystem is the creator track, trying to chat about media and leveraging on-chain tools to use media as a means of distribution. So I would love for you to give a little bio intro about yourself and a little bit about what KF Media is.
Sure. So hello, everybody. Those that don't know me, I'm Will T of Web3. I've been in the blockchain ecosystem since March of 2020. I was encouraged by my mentor to research blockchain technology, research the markets, and figure out what were the striking comparisons to the equity markets, also known as the stock markets, right? So that was my first task when it comes to blockchain. From there, it's just been an evolution of a journey, of a maturation, of a process, maturation of a community, and we can get all into the deeper dive on all those aspects. But no, blessed to be here. Also, fun fact that a lot of people may not know about me, I find cooking very therapeutic. I am a 15-year practicing home chef, and I do have my own courses, which will be launched soon. Let me get into this topic too, with our newly re-envisioned learning center. Which is based on the original Charmverse code set. One thing that happened to a lot of creators back in 2025, I think it was like June of 2025, was there was a website provider service, right, that basically decided to sunset their operations, known as bonfire.xyz. The beauty about what the protocol they were running was it gave content creators, especially independent content creators, an outlet that didn't require them to learn code, where they could just plug and play their content, build a website very seamlessly, launch digital goods if they wanted to, and just have everything all encompassing in one place. So they sunsetted their services June of 2025, if I'm not mistaken, on that year. And then we got word earlier this year that Charmverse was going to do the same thing with their services. So if anybody's ever used the Charmverse, whether you're applying for a grant, whether you're managing your community, managing your DAO, anything like that, you kind of know how valuable of a resource it is. So instead of going out and resourcing another provider that may have had a similar platform, because we've been on Charmverse for 2 years, we're very familiar with the software. It's very conducive to the learning environment in creating a positive learning environment because the students can see all the courses in one view. They don't have to go searching for it. So it's very intuitive as well. So instead of that, I took a leap of faith. I did something I said that I would never do ever again. And, change is constant within this world, right? And so I learned how to vibe code. And so currently we have under construction, just kind of being creative here with it. We forked the original code from Charmverse. We've complied with their specific license that they put against it in terms of the branding and everything like that. We are close, and I mean like within 2 weeks or less of redeploying the Learning Center as our own branded version of Charmverse with only the features baked into it of what is required for us as operators of the Learning Center. So it's been a wild journey. It's been a wild ride. I've got to meet amazing people along the way, such as yourself. I think you're pointing back to the fractal meetings that we have with the Eden Fractal Group and the Optimistics and the Optimism Fractal Group, but it was in one of those meetings that you decided to join our community, right? So you are a very high valued member of our community. You've also participated in our independent content creator program as well, with, if I'm not mistaken, 3 unique independent videos that we've produced and we put them out there for distribution. Because right now infrastructure is our main priority. Anything else that we would normally be doing right now has been paused. We've even paused our own broadcasting so that we can focus on getting this learning center redeployed. So I don't know if I gave too much information, went a little
No,
long.
that's great.
You
Love
like
it.
it?
I think that was
Yeah.
one of the things that spurred my thought is this was also a post that came out today from Hats Protocol that Haberdashery
Mhm.
Labs is sunsetting as well, but creating hats is a
Oh
public.
man.
I know, but creating hats is a public good. So they're open sourcing the repo, sharing it back. It's definitely this kind of process of relying on different services,
Right.
then not being able to use them in the future becomes a challenge. But one of
Right.
the things that I really like that they did here is in just open sourcing the code, individuals that may have been reliant on it might still potentially need to do some changes to make it work, but they can
Yeah.
still make it work, which is really cool because something like bonfires, I don't believe that was open sourced, right? So like
No, I don't think it
individuals had
was
to
ever open
go
source.
and figure out whatever they were going to do for their next thing, whether that be learn to vibe code themselves or try and find another service. So one of the things I
Right.
think that's really powerful about public goods, open source building is some of this tooling that you can do is like, okay, some individuals, the individuals that created this cannot work on it anymore. It's like when a founder leaves the company or is ousted because the founder can't scale it that the quote unquote board, right, or whoever the
Mhm.
shareholders are want to grow it, but in a different sense where that individual is kind of choosing to take that step back, but leaving it open for anyone to kind of come and build on top of. So I'm excited because the hats has been something I've been actually really excited to
Yeah, well,
leverage
we
more.
have an unfinished hats tree, so that's good information to know.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're
So
gonna
we
have
can
to.
finalize
I
that.
want to build some front end UI so that our team can leverage the Hats protocol for
Mhm.
our ecosystem, right? So that's something that's been on my mind for quite some time. Now that this is out there, and there are probably some more individuals that are interested in that, I think that'll be a great topic of conversation. Maybe that'd be a great space for us to have a little bit of a longer convo about. But
Yeah,
I
no
wanted to
doubt.
have that conversation about decentralization, sunsetting protocols, being reliant on different individuals and services, and how in the media space we can do different things like potentially vibe coding
Mhm.
your own tool to help distribute your media, but also make sure that you are less reliant on things outside of your environment.
Right. Right. No, and that's a great, that's a great thing. So as far as me, so you're more developer centric founder, and I'm more of a creative founder who had no ambition to relearn coding. Now, just to give you some background perspective, back in 1995, I was a systems analyst for a small mom and pop company here where I live in Colorado. And I used to know the Unix environment like the back of my hand, right? And then from there, fast forward a few years after that, like 5, 6 years, I entered a web design program, and I said the last thing I want to do is look at code all day after being in a basic HTML class where we had to hand code in HTML a fully functional 20-page website with video embeds, GIFs, JPEGs, motion, things like that. And I'm like, no, it's not for me. But now that I've reacquainted myself with, what AI is capable of right now in its current state, maybe what is not capable of, that is a lot of speculation out there that leads to fear mongering, in my mind at least, about people staying away from AI, but also knowing how simplistic it has become in the past 3 years. That even a founder such as myself, who, you know, at one point in time recently had no ambition to relearn how to code or navigate my system, I'm now finding myself almost on a daily basis gravitating back towards that because I want to really finish this project up, because we've got some other things in the hopper that we vibe coded as well, but we're not going to release those into the wild until we get the learning center done.
Awesome. Man, I had a question in there, but you keep on.
But you want to talk about content creation too, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, well, media, distributing
Okay.
media, in this
Media
environment.
distribution, yeah.
Like, what
Yeah,
are
so
some of the
media,
tools you have used in the time you have been here that you have enjoyed using and you feel like are valuable tools for an individual to use, whether it's that same tool or not, but what you used it for?
yeah, exactly. I think when we're talking about media distribution outside of Bonfire, because that was a built-in marketplace to that, to your website, right? Where you could just create your own distribution channel through the website. So I'd say outside of that, the three primaries that we have right now that we use to distribute independent content, or on behalf of the content creators that we represent. Um, One thing that you can do, because you can do this in a very light fashion, is you can use unlock protocol. And there's a lot of use cases out there for unlock protocol. It wasn't until I was like everyone else who's probably first exposed to unlock protocol as like an event RSVP page, right? And so I was very narrowly focused on that at one point until I talked with one of the former DevRels about how the protocol actually worked, what you do with it, what are the very distinctive characteristics around the smart contracts, what are you actually deploying out on the blockchain, like what is the standard of token you're deploying and things like that. So there are some things, because it's been around for some time. I think it's going on 10 years now, something like that. That unlock protocol has been around. Um, there are some things based on the age of those smart contracts, because at that point in time those smart contracts were not necessarily upgradable, right? 10 years ago compared to today.
Yeah.
Now we have upgradable smart contracts that are fully malleable and flexible and can do a lot of amazing things. But understanding that, it led me to like, okay, experimentation phase. What can we do with this? So if you're an independent content creator, you can set up a subscription basis for your fans, right? Through Unlock Protocol. And they can subscribe, on whatever cadence of frequency you want them to do. They could be a monthly subscriber. They could be and you're basically having them subscribe to another place where you're hosting your content, right? So, they could be a monthly, they could be quarterly, they could be semi-annual, they could be annual, however you set it up. And the beauty of it is, because most independent content creators now are learning the finer points of actually being a business operator, which is very important in this space, in this ecosystem, to think like an entrepreneur, to think like you're running a multi-billion-dollar multinational corporation. Having that mindset, it benefits independent content creators. So understanding that, back to the subscription model, right? You can do alternate currencies in the form of the ERC20 standard, or you can do traditional fiat payments. So setting up a Stripe account, the biggest advice I can give to anybody today through this that they could benefit from regarding that business mindset mentality is set yourself up a Stripe account, right? You're going to need a Stripe account. Stripe is the end all be all when it comes to receiving payments right now. They're so dominant in the marketplace. I don't know that how anyone can take any market share grab away from them. It's not a promo for Stripe. I have a Stripe account, but that is one of the biggest benefits you can do. That's a very simple solution that you can set up. So through Unlock Protocol, you set up your subscription. You can take, say, like USDC or any other ERC20 token standard. If you wanted to, you can take traditional fiat payments for those that don't know about this ecosystem, because the whole point of you being a content creator, maybe a secondary purpose, is you're also an educator to bring people into this space, right? And where they can feel safe and they can feel like they're going to have a good journey. So that's the number one tool that comes to mind. Now, there's other use cases. We've done it before on one of our independent content creators. We set it up as like a booking site for her. So it's like where she could point people to the booking page. They would remit payment on the booking page, and then from the booking page, the payment would be received by KF Media. And of course, we're going to distribute the monies accordingly out to her. But it gives her a sense of like, okay, now I know that this in-person event that I'm going to hold 6 months from now, I've already got my 30 seats filled. So now I just have to do the work to actually host the event, right? So there's a lot of things. You can even set it up as like a membership too. So a little bit different than subscription, but kind of similar, depending on how you want to handle that.
Yeah, there we go. There's a couple of
there's some of yours, right? We'll get into that here in a second. I would say the other two tools that we've used, because we've had to go outside the box a little bit, because I understand the type of media we work with, unless you're having custom smart contracts built for you, which could contain vulnerabilities. You never know. It's very difficult to find the resources to do proper distribution. We were fortunate enough to be part of some creator cohorts as of late. So we were able to learn about these tools. I would say the next tool, on-chain tool for us, because they use Arweave, and I know IPFS, which is the Interplanetary File System, has come under scrutiny within the last couple of years or not about being a good file storage system for IP. Another solution out there in the ecosystem is called Arweave. So we do the NFT video distribution through highlight.xyz, which automatically stores the videos to Arweave, right? So once we deploy that smart contract, the content lives on chain for, I don't know, what is it, 100, 200 years, whatever, long, outlasting us for sure. But it's going to be there for a very long time, right? And then that page, because it'll be maintained, will be there for a very long time. So even if people aren't collecting the videos now, if it's video content that has a high level of quality content against it, which is kind of a good segue into KFM talks. We'll talk about that here in a second. But it's a very equitable way to house your content for future use, right? You could even just start building your portfolio or your product library or your content library very simply using a highlight page and not even direct anybody to it until, say, like 6 months from now. You're like, oh, look at this, full catalog of content I've created, right? The other one that we recently learned about, which is more of a Web 2 distribution mechanism, but I really like it because it's taking some aspects of social community and weaving it into the singular platform. So it's not just like a product sales and service site. There are some community elements to it that you can get involved too. And that one's called Contra.com. So Contra is more Web 2 centric outside of the Web 3 ecosystem. So this gives us a variety of options to distribute content that we can do it inside the Web 3 ecosystem. We can do it outside the Web 3 ecosystem. Once we start seeing some good sell-through rates, then maybe we could set up like a more traditional store like Shopify or Amazon or something like that. But at the end of the day, we have to be able to justify the expense through the sales of the products and services that we offer.
1,000,000%. Wow. Well said. There's three awesome tools that you guys use. Thanks for sharing so much
Yeah.
detail. So I will definitely make sure we share some of those URLs.
Hmm.
And I think Unlock is a great tool and one that I have been interested in trying to think about how we're going
Yeah.
to use for the ZABAL games.
Well, and you were showing off some of your locks that you've collected along the way based on events or programs you participated in, right?
Yeah.
One of the ones that you highlighted was for KFM
Oh,
Talks. So, no, 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 that's fine.
sorry.
This is
This is
perfect.
the, I'll
Yeah,
go back to that, but
no, that's fine. So KFM Talks, to put it simply, is it's a independent content creator program designed for people who have a message to share that they feel is going to impact other people, right? So building on the inspiration from TEDx Talks, what makes TEDx Talks so great, it's not necessarily the professional production behind it. It's not necessarily that people are speaking on a stage in an auditorium of probably 5,000 people. It's the messages that they're delivering through those talks. That's what makes them so special. Plus, they're not, they're bite sized, right? So they're not like exorbitantly long videos traditionally, like you'd see like at a conference setting or something like that, where you got like a 40-minute talk or panel discussion, whatever, right? So they're more bite sized. A lot of them fit into that, 10 to 12-minute category because the message is so powerful. Um, it does draw the audience member into that actual talk itself so that they can be fully immersed and be able to absorb the information that's being shared. So the design of this program, we've already gone through successive iterations. We'll be relaunching this again soon once the learning center is up and running, running another summer edition program of it. But what I will say about it is that we got a very good response. We already have our proof of concept, which is that we can manage, operate, and facilitate and execute similar style programs using nothing but Web3 tooling, right? And so at the end of the day, we already mentioned it, but the primary tool we use for that is Unlock. We'll set up an event page to gauge interest. We'll pull everybody into a private Telegram group where they get to know each other and they can congregate and they can have fellowship and they can get to know the other creators part of the program as well. Um, then from there, we do set up, once they book the recording, come in, complete the recording, we will set up another dedicated page just for themselves that says, yes, you were here and you participated in this program, right? And then we have some other Web3 centric tooling also, but just going back to the distribution side, eventually the final product ends up on highlight.xyz and Contra, both of our primary distribution channels. And then it's and we'll do some initial marketing to kind of ramp up demand, but then we hand it over to the independent content creator to really go to town in their community and start driving themselves. The benefit to it is we don't operate like a traditional agency model, whereas an independent content creator, you're only going to get 30 to 40% of the proceeds from the sales. We can do better than that. Web3, we have the opportunity to do better than that. So you're going to get a bigger chunk of the pie, closer to the 80, 85 percentile range on the proceeds from the sales, because we want to empower you to be able to go back. And if you need to get another tool or if you need to get a new software so you can have a more professional production on your content that you're creating, we want to empower you to be able to do that.
Amazing. I love it. In our last few minutes here, do you want to share anything about the website, where people can
Yeah,
find you? Anything else you
sure.
want to share as we're getting into our last few moments?
Well, yeah. So the primary thing is kingfishersmedia.io. Kingfishersmedia.io. It's all one word. There we go. Awesome. This is our newly revamped website. Like I said, when Bonfire sunsetted their services, we didn't have a website. We didn't have a website for 10 months. One of our community members talked to one of his friends who he knew was experimenting with web dev and said, "Hey, do you want to build a website for, the community that I'm a part of and I'm part of their marketing team?" He's like, "Sure, let's talk about it." What I was so impressed is when I saw the original wireframe on this, I was like, this is so clean and so basic and intuitive, and it doesn't need to be fancy, or it doesn't need to be like, how a lot of people, they put too much stuff in their website, and so it creates distractions, right? So this is like a distraction free. Also, it helped that when I was in a web dev program myself, I learned about information architecture. So from an information architecture perspective, the layout of this website makes sense. But yeah, you go through our mission, our vision, our community, who we are, go through our different programs, our social audio broadcasts when we bring them back, upcoming events. As you see, we got room for everyone. Our education passports, which gets you into our learning center. The different programs we have. So KFM Talks is one of those. Um, and I'm not sure where the Watch Talks. Don't click on that one because I'm not sure where that's pointing right now, but I'll take a look at that. And then here's the distribution, right? So here's the distribution, product sales. So you get the on-chain collectibles, the on-chain content, or the digital downloads. And you can go to any of our stores there. At the very bottom, media features, by the way, this one will be added onto the podcast once the replay is available. But we have different spaces we've been in, different print periodicals we've been mentioned in, or they've done full-blown articles on us in different podcasts we've been on. So partners and sponsors, these are our official partners and sponsors for right now, of who we have a fully developed relationship with. Now, there may be some other ones that are like unofficial, or we don't want to necessarily put them on our website unless they're an official partner. And then contact us. So below the grant programs, you can see the life cycle of all the grant programs we've ever been in. This MobFi, I don't know what the exact status is. It's supposed to be like a Telegram game for community engagement. But here's our get in touch page, right? So this is where people can find us. You can email us, support@kingfishermedia.io. You can join our Telegram community. You can follow us on X, follow us on Farcaster, follow us on the Base app. You can even just fill out this simple form. We don't care if you just say Anon. We don't care what your name is, right? You don't have to dox yourself. Put in your name, your email, shoot us a brief message. Tell us how we can help you, or tell us how we can improve our community to be a stronger community. The other point I wanted to make real quick is that when we relaunch, because you were talking about public goods earlier in the space or in this this show, when we relaunch the Learning Center, we will transition into a true public good as a community. We're not going to have anything in our ecosystem that's token gated anymore. Everything will be free, open opportunity to anyone who finds us. And the other important piece of that is we're transitioning our organizational structure from a traditional for-profit business into a decentralized, unincorporated nonprofit association later on this fall. That's going to happen in Q4. So we're making that move. The main reason why we're doing that is because when I was exploring funding opportunities, there's a lot of funding opportunities that are, well, let's just put it this way. There's less funding opportunities for for-profit organizations than there are for nonprofit organizations. So I'm very excited about making that change to the organizational structure and then kind of seeing what comes down the pike from there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Will. Thanks for joining anyone who's listening in, and have a wonderful rest of your guys' day. Do you have any last words, Will?
The only last words I could probably leave anybody with that would benefit them is maintain your childlike curiosity, be open to exploration, and in most cases, just go with